Aw, thanks for coming to hang out with me. I'm Tiffany, the Project Bag, and thank you for joining me today. You can find me on Ravelry as the Project Bag and on Instagram as the Project Bag 35. Those are pretty much the only two places that I'm anywhere. I do have a Twitter account, but that's mainly for sports. I mean, if you're into sports as much as I am, you already know that Twitter is the place to be for that. I'm here to talk about knitting. Today, pretty much just knitting. I don't have any spinning. I don't have any cross stitch. I don't have any sewing. I don't have, let me check my notes. I have nothing else. I barely even have knitting, but it's been 2 weeks. Actually, it's a day over what I said that I was going to record, so I want to be a lady of my word and keep up with a good schedule, a predictable schedule. So I wanted to let you know that I created a podcast group on Ravelry. I did also resurrect a blog that I had from a long time ago, thinking that would be where I would throw up show notes, but I think for ease of use, as far as linking everything I talk about, is probably pretty much going to redirect you back to Ravelry anyway. So I think I'll just use the Ravelry group mainly. If that changes, I'll let you know. But my group is called the Project Bags Community. You can find it by searching under the groups tab there. I named it the community because I really do want it to be a place where, you know, we can hang out, interact. I craft pretty much on an island where I live, which most of that is by choice. I'm an introvert by nature, and I've told people this before, like, I am my favorite person, so I do not mind being alone at all. But I do also want to interact with other people, you know, especially that I wouldn't necessarily have the chance to hang out with in person. So please do come and find us there and, you know, pipe up and speak your mind. Let us know who you are, you know, anything like that. If you want to tell me what you're wearing, if you know, I don't know, if you found a good book or a good recipe, or, you know, I don't know, you saved 50 cents on a gallon on gas that day, whatever. Please come and, you know, interact if that's your thing. So, I do have show notes. I will try to stick to them, but, you know, I'm always one for running off the rails sometimes. So let me close out a couple of tabs here so they don't distract me. Okay. First, I will talk about what I am wearing. I'm wearing 3 knitted objects today, but you're only going to see 2 of them because the other is my my socks. And I'm too tucked into my spot to try to show you my socks, but I will show you my shawl. This is the Blight shawl by Oblivious Knits, who her real name is Deborah Frank, I believe. Yes, it is. This was knit in 2015. It is a single skein of Marigold Gin. It's the her base merino silk sock, which was 50-50 silk and merino. And the colorway was called Tealicious. Yes, that's correct. I used 90 grams of the 100 gram skein to make this. And the pattern, no, I already said what the pattern was. I'm looking at my notes. I'm pretty sure I knitted pretty, you know, exactly as written, except for my bind off. It looks like I used a lace bind off instead of, I'm not sure what the pattern called for, but a good use of a 100 gram skein. It's a pretty decent size, and it's a pretty pattern. And it looks like there have been 92 other projects besides mine made from this pattern. Oh, I won't put this back on yet because the next thing I have to show you is my cardigan. But yeah, I like this colorway. I don't know that there's anything more to say about it, but there's that. And then the second thing I'm wearing is this cardigan. It's called the Katrina Ballerina Lace Layering Cardigan. I knit this way back in 2013. It looks like it was on the needles for almost a full year. 11 months, which is nuts because from what I remember, there is, you know, nothing extraordinary about it, difficult. But I guess at that point I had only been knitting a few years and I hadn't made too many garments. Nicole Feller Johnson is the designer. And I use Knit Picks Full Circle Worsted, which I think you don't really know the composition of that yarn. If I remember, it says 100% wool. At the time I said it was a bit scratchy, but now I don't have any problem with it at all. I don't even know if they make this anymore. It might have been one of those special reserve yarns or something like that, but the colorway was called Quarry. This used 475 yards of an Aran weight, 216 grams total, so not very much at all. I mean, as you can see, it doesn't have any kind of you know, sleeves to speak of. And it's got 4 buttons, and it's a little tight because, you know, I've gained a different shape with my advancing years, but I still do like it a lot. It's, I can't remember what I think the temperature today is, if it's not 50, it's close to it. So it's not, it's cold to me. I wouldn't want to be outside, but, you know, for inside, it's a good layering piece. I have nothing else to say about it, I don't guess. It's not even really pilled that much, but I don't wear it that often, so that might have something to do with it. But that is that. So, completed since the last time we spoke. No, not completed. I'm skipping a whole section. In process. Right. Well, excuse me. I did skip yesterday because I was feeling poorly. I haven't really been feeling the greatest. I've had like a little cold. I swear, I mean, I did this through in Vlogmas, during Vlogmas too. Like, I'm not anyone who usually ever gets sick, and all of a sudden I go back to work where I work with children, little, you know, balls of germs, and I'm picking up everything under the sun. So anyway, all that to say, that's why I'm a day late and $1 short putting this up, but I'm here. That's all that matters. Okay, so the bag that I've got these little socks riding around in is this bag here. This was the bag that each attendee got in their goodie bag this year or 2019 at the End of the Wool Fiber Retreat. This is the Wee Bra bag is the pattern. And it's a really deceptive pattern because, you know, it doesn't really look that big, but inside it's so roomy because it's got a really wide gusset. I don't remember what the width is on this, but it's pretty big. I'm very familiar with this pattern because I made 100 plus of these little bad boys, and somehow grossly overestimated how much fabric I was going to need. And I think I ended up with 8, 9 something yards of this main fabric. So yeah, and in the pattern, in the bags that everyone else got, they had a like a goldenrod lining. This was one of my, I guess it was my prototype or one of the first ones I made. So that's why this one doesn't have yellow lining like everybody else. But, and also I put yellow tabs on a pull string on mine, whereas everyone else got rope, I think. Oh my gosh. See, if you're new to interacting with me, you won't know this about me, but if you've been around a minute anywhere, you will know that I shout from the rooftops that I am a compartmentalizer. So it's here and now, and once it's out of sight, it's pretty well out of mind. So I don't remember what the strings were for everyone else's bags, but anyway, because I had so much of this, I was able to make like all these coordinating accessories. I had this bag, I had a bunch of DPN cozies. So if you like this fabric, which is very fun fabric, and are interested in having me make something for you out of it, just get a hold of me on Etsy. I probably didn't say that I am on Etsy. That's where the project bag name comes from, because that's the name of my Etsy business. You can find me there. I'll put a link down below. But anyway, this is my Notions pouch. So all that to say, this bag is where these socks are living. These are socks for my 5-year-old niece, and I started them on Thanksgiving Day. I have a love-hate relationship with socks, so I decided the way maybe to bring me back around to making adult-size socks is maybe to make a few pairs of kids' socks. She is a size 11 children's size, so I made the last pair I made her. I think I completed them in a week, something like that. So yeah, I think there's probably no good reason why these have been on the needles since the end of November, but well, there is a good reason. The good reason is I was doing other things, and there's no time constraints on when this needs to be done. But all I need to do is do the heel turn and then pick up stitches, and I think I did 50 rounds for the foot, and then a few decreases for the toe, and then it would be finished. But this is the first sock of the set. The yarn is Rock and String Creations is the self-striping. It's her, it's a sport base, and the colorway is called Mountain Twilight. I can't say for certain, but I'm pretty sure that I got this at Into the Wool Fiber Retreat 2017, I think. Erin was one of the vendors. I think it was that year. It's either 2017 or 2018. I'm having all the years kind of run together sometimes when you're a compartmentalizer and you put things in their box and put them away. So anyway, there's that. It's very pretty. I made a pair for myself out of this, and this is what was left over. And then the contrast and heels, toes, and cuffs is Knit Picks Hawthorne Fingering, I believe, in the colorway Goddess. So that'll be a pretty pair of socks when they're finished. I put them in process because as soon as I get her sweater finished, which I'll talk about in a minute, I'm going to pick these back up and try to make some headway on them. The other thing is a Gnome, Here We Gnome Again by Sarah Shearer, also known as Imagine Landscapes. I started this with the intention of making it for my aunt for Christmas, and excuse me, time just got away from me. That vest took top priority, so so now I've decided that this will probably be for her birthday in April. I put this on my Crafty Bingo as one of my Crafty Bingo squares to motivate me to make sure that I actually get it finished. I'm not usually one to leave a lot of unfinished objects, but it wouldn't hurt to have a little extra motivation. So anyway, this is where I've, as far as I had gotten when I stopped. The yarn is Knit Picks Mighty Stitch. Is that right? Yes. And this colorway is Pomegranate. I have intentions to making it. I think I was making it in like a patriotic color scheme. Although I'm not. Yes, yeah, it must be. But anyway, this is the hat. And this is I think they list this as a worsted weight I'm not so great with measuring that, but I've heard other people say that maybe it's closer to a DK. I haven't checked the gauge on this. It'll end up being whatever size it ends up being. But so far, I'm happy with, you know, where it's at. But again, that's another thing that once I get this sweater off the needles, that's going to take priority as well. So I can go ahead and at least get one square on my Crafty Bingo, which, and that's living in this bag that I made. And it's a vinyl front bag, which is one of my favorites. Lady Vols play tonight in a huge game against UConn. The rivalry is back. It's been put to bed since 2007, and it's time to revive it. So, Crafty Bingo. If you don't know about Crafty Bingo, Erin of Bling Your String, she has a business under that name, and she also has a podcast under that name. No, She Must Knit is the name of her podcast on YouTube. Let me double check that because I might be telling tales. But anyway, Erin, every year for the last 3 or 4 has hosted this Crafty Bingo, and it is just a fun way of trying to achieve crafty goals for the year. Look at this, is like my favorite layering thing, and somehow or another I've gotten a hole in it, but I can't be bothered to replace the shirt yet. Because that would require going out to people, and this girl don't people so good, as has already been established in this episode. Oh my gosh, I'm not finding it anywhere. She Must Knit. It is She Must Knit. Okay, sorry. Back to what I was saying, which was what? Oh, word. Crafty Bingo. That's what it was. Just a fun way of meeting some goals for the year. They could be anything crafting related, from organization, you know, something like one of my goals was to, I've got my card here because I wasn't sure if I would remember everything. I'm not going to go over everything. If you would like to know specifically what my goals are, I do have a project page on Ravelry for them. I made them loosey-goosey. But anyway, what I'm trying to get to say here is this square here says to clean up my queue. I was currently at 285. I've gotten it down to 174. Some of those things that were in my queue had been there since 2014. And, you know, my tastes have changed. My interest level has changed, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I went ahead and revamped my queue. So it didn't have to be anything too specific to, you know, knitting or, you know, whatever. So I did mainly knitting goals. I also left it open to, I think I've got 3 squares that say make a gift. So that could be a gift of any sort of craft. Likely it will be knitting, but if I want to sew someone something and check that off that I've accomplished it, I will do that. 2 years ago, I completed a card, and those goals were very good for me to stay focused. I've always been someone who's been motivated more by consequences than by rewards. I'm not usually one to make goals. Again, going back to that compartmentalizer thing, if I did like show titles, maybe that would be the name of the show title, is I'm a compartmentalizer. Hello. But anyway, goals are just too far-sighted. Like, I can't live in the future. I have to live in the here and now. So setting goals are good for me, but I don't always live by them because I can only, you know, I can't predict what I'm going to be feeling like in, you know, 3 months, whether or not I'm going to want to work on that or whatever. So year before last, this was great for me. Last year, I felt kind of suffocated or, you know, just really oppressed by my goals. And I can't even say why. They weren't, I don't think they were out of, you know, left field or anything. But so this year I decided I'd go ahead and give it another try. And we'll see. I feel good about what I've got on there. As I said, I don't tend to have a lot of unfinished, excuse me, I don't have a lot of unfinished objects, but the ones that I do have hanging around, I think I've put every one of them on that card because I really want to see them finished. One of them is to finish a pair of whiz bang socks that I started, I don't know how long ago. I have a whole sock completed. And I couldn't even say why I didn't immediately cast on the second one. I think it was probably because I had to follow a pattern, and I wasn't in a place at the time where I could, you know, continue following a pattern. Silly. So, gonna get those knocked out. So, all that was what I have in process. Now, I've mentioned a Little Mrs. Sweater, and I have it here in my notes as completed, even though technically it's not. But by the time I get this uploaded, it will be, because I think I lack 20 rounds or something like that. And then I'll be finished. So this bag was made for me the year before last, I believe, at Into the Wool. It was gifted to me by Dana of Unwind, and she made it for me. And it's very pretty and super creative, and it's very roomy, and it's special. So in this bag is this little sweater. Now, if you were around for last time's episode, you would have heard me say that I intended to have this finished and it would be gifted to her and you wouldn't see it except in a picture. Yeah, lies, lies, lies. Because I did a silly thing. Now, this is made for a 5-year-old. Same 5-year-old that's getting those socks. She just turned 5. And I know that the coloring is terrible. Maybe if I hold it to this side. Yeah, that's much better. But the mistake I made, took it with us to Tennessee to see our son. It was great car knitting for the 11 hours that it took to drive there. I even felt so confident about getting it finished before we came home that I ordered the needles that I would need to do the sleeves. Excuse me. I ordered them and had them sent to my son's apartment so that I could make sure that I got them finished or at least started for the drive home, blah, blah, blah. This is a very long story to tell you that I knit the yoke following the centimeters, not the inches. So if you would like to go to my project page, you'll see a picture, or if you saw it on Instagram, you'll see a picture of me wearing this sweater. I mean, I got up to, did the 3-needle bind off at the shoulders. And I kept measuring it thinking, well, look how big this armhole is. Because the armhole was what was cluing me into the fact that it was so big. And I made this sweater once before and it fit her nicely. And I'd only gone up one size. Was making the 6 versus the 4. Yeah, well, apparently I don't make mistakes like that very often at all, because I don't know. I just try to be very meticulous about things. And, yeah, the fact that I had messed up like that just really got under my skin, but I was bound and determined to try to get this finished to give to her when she came to spend the weekend with me. So I ripped it back out, and everybody was trying to encourage me to keep it for myself. The problem is that it was, I'm not crazy about, I don't know, the color's okay, but it's just not my thing. And also it was kind of tight across the belly for, again, that changing shape as I'm getting older. And there was something else also. Oh, and the length. It was hitting me like above where I would normally knit something. I think it was hitting me like just below my natural waist, which would be, not quite cropped, but still wouldn't be where I would be comfortable with it. So, plus it was intended for her, and I didn't want to have to start a whole nother sweater for her. So, while they were good suggestions, I knew I wasn't going to take that advice. So I ripped it back out and got back on my little horse and got to knitting, got the sleeve done, and I'm just about, so anyway, I'm almost there. I told her that I would mail it to her and thinking that, you know, kids love to get mail. And she didn't want me to mail it to her. And I said, oh, well, you don't like getting mail? Okay, you can mail it to me. I mean, she doesn't live that far away, but it would be more convenient for me to just mail it to her. Okay, so there's that. So I've got that under completed because it will be by the time all this is uploaded. The vest for my son. Gifted it to him. He was happy with it. Unfortunately, the V's, the width was a little too wide. I don't think it's gonna hinder him from wearing it, but I noticed it when he put it on. But otherwise, it fit nicely, and he was happy with it. So, oh, you know what? I've got wearing. Wearing is the first thing I talked about, except it's at the bottom of my list, which is silly. So I forgot to mention also, because it'll be in the notes. I said last time that my word for the year is value. So I found a seller on Etsy that does beautiful jewelry. I think it's mainly metal. It's hand stamped and hand hammered and all that kind of stuff, and customizable. So because I'm using my forward facing phone camera, it's not going to focus very well, but I ordered 2 rings from her. This one says value, and then this one is, yeah, you're not going to see it at all. It's horizontal trees. And I was very happy with both purchases. The shop is called Vendenda, I believe. She's out of Texas. There will be a link in the show notes if you are interested. Super reasonable, very quickly shipped. Great fit. They're adjustable, so that's a bonus for me also, because my fingers, my knuckles especially, tend to swell sometimes. And yes, so there was something else. Oh, cutely packaged as well. So I started following her on Instagram, and I really, you know, she's put up some fun things. She's got a lot of great ideas. So highly recommend. And my nails. This, I'm not going to try to get it to focus because it's not going to focus, but I can't remember whether or not I talked last time about my deep love for Color Street nail strips, but I do have a deep and dying love for Color Street nail strips. This is a colorway called Everyday I'm Sparklin'. It was gifted to me by Dana, my best friend, and she got it at the Color Street conference last August. I'm pretty sure that's when they got them as stylist exclusives. It was the last, yeah, I think it was last August, or maybe it was when she went on her cruise, because she earned a cruise with them, and that she took last spring. Either way, they were a very beautiful and much appreciated gift. So there is a link to her business page if you are interested in checking that out. So I say that because whenever I see pretty nails, I always wonder about them. So, okay, projects to come. The yarn is coming for my future daughter-in-law's sweater. Knit Picks had a sale on their Swish DK on Monday. She had picked out Wonderland Heather, which was an icy blue, very beautiful blue, but Bordeaux happened to be on a pretty good sale. I think it was 30% off. So I went ahead and ordered that instead. It was about a $12 difference for the sweater lot. So she'll look good in it. I know I've seen her wear colors similar to that, and you know, she's not picky. She's not going to complain. She's the best girl ever, so I think it'll be fine. The pattern that I've picked is called Astoria by Kay Hopkins. Kay was one of our sponsors for Into the Wool a few years ago, and it's just it almost looks more like a pullover shirt than a sweater. It's got like a I can't think of what it's called, but like the dropped hem at the back versus the front, and it's got little cables running down the sides, and I think along the bottom edges. Anyway, you'll see it as I work on it, but I did link the pattern also. And so as soon as the yarn gets here, I will be swatching for that. Let's see. I think, okay. Into the Wool update. Okay, so I've got a little more information because I got all my little ducks in a row this time. Because sign-ups, by the time I podcast again, which will be on February the 4th, sign-ups will have already happened. Not to say that you can't, if you're interested, you can sign up after that, but just be aware that we may be on a waiting list at that point. The last 2 years, that's how it's happened. We've pretty much filled all of our spots within the first couple of days, and then as the process went on, we had a few people drop that, so pretty much anyone who wanted to come last year was able to come, is what I'm telling you. But, you snooze, you lose, so you might want to be on time. There's always a chance. You just never know. Okay, so September the 17th through the 20th this year, 2020. Cost is $400, and the fee includes lodging on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, 8 meals, which includes dinner on Thursday, all 3 meals on Friday and Saturday, and breakfast on Sunday. Snacks and drinks throughout the weekend, a goodie bag, all activities, and a t-shirt. So it's a pretty dang good value. You get yourself to the event, however that is, needs to happen. And then after that, you come on property and you don't have to spend another dime, if you choose not to. Now, if you'd like to bring some money with you so that you can spend it at our attendee exclusive market, then, hey, we encourage that. But, once you pay your money, you're good. Sign-ups are February the 1st at 3 Eastern. The link to sign up will be on our Ravelry group. That is the only place there is that you will find the option to sign up. There will be a thread for sign-ups, and you just click through the link. It's a very quick form to fill out, and then if you get in, then there will be a longer form with more extensive information needed after that. But, we want you to be able to fill it out quickly to get your spot secured if you wish to come. Let me see. Money will be due on April 30th. By April 30th. Needs to be in Dana's hands by April the 30th, 2020. So, and vendors, we have not announced vendors yet. We will be announcing them on Saturday the 25th, which is 1 week ahead of signups. So if for some reason who the vendors are that are coming to sell their wares sways you one way or the other, you'll have advance notice of that. Definitely will be announced in the Ravelry group, and more than likely on Instagram as well. I think, that's 100% definite on the Instagram as well. We're looking for sponsors even this early in advance, because we try to get as many secured as possible, because we do our Spotlight Knit Along, which is a knit along that we host every year that gives attendees a chance to to purchase and use products from our sponsors and vendors to promote their wares out there. It's a way that we give back to our sponsors and vendors. So we are looking for sponsors. If you are interested in sponsoring, you can contact us at intothewoolfiberretreat@gmail.com, and we can send along the information there. I think that's pretty much all I have to say about that. There will be a link to the group on this group, or in my show notes if you care to find in there. Otherwise, you can just do a search on Ravelry for the Into the Wool Fiber Retreat group. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so watching and reading. I've got 3 things that I've been watching. I haven't really been reading or listening to anything other than podcasts related to these shows that I found. I mean, I say I found them. They've been around for forever, but if there's anybody who is anti-bandwagon, it's kind of me. So I wait until things are well past their popularity. Hi, I'm the girl who just saw Harry Potter a month ago for the first time ever. Okay, so Aerial America is a show on Smithsonian Channel. I'm not sure how long it's been around, but they cover every state in the United States. Actually, and I think they've expanded worldwide as well. But I had a bunch of things pile up on my DVR, and a few weeks ago I sat down and had a nice marathon knitting and TV viewing session where I caught up on DVR things, and I watched pretty much did a tour of the Southeast United States through Aerial America. So that is, if you like traveling from your comfort of your home like I do, that might be a show you'd be interested in. Schitt's Creek on Netflix. I know that I think I've heard that the series has now ended, so, or is getting ready to end or something like that. So, you know, yeah, relate to the game there, but enjoying it nonetheless. I think I'm into series 3 now. Found that, and then my favorite thing to do is to jump in and find other people who are interested in the same thing and get on the podcast aggregators and see if there's podcasts related to it, which of course there are. So that's one, and then The Crown. Late to that one as well. I'm only early into season 2. I think that's right. Yes. Yeah, I think I just started season 2. I'm pretty sure. I can't, no, you know what? I might not even be. I might just be in 1 because, you know, they're kind of longer, and then I watch one, and then I've got to go and find a podcast, which is probably equally as long as the episode, and, you know, then it's taking me a while, which is good because I want to savor it, because I know that that's one that only has 3 seasons so far. So that's that, and all right. My only other thing is my fun fact about Southern Maryland, and this is really not too exciting. Although, I mean, I don't know. We have a middle school. Last time's episode, there was a person who there's a middle school named after here, but so this is another one. But you know, I've heard the name my whole life, but never really knew exactly who the fellow was. So Benjamin Stoddard, born in 1744 in excuse me, in the colony of Maryland. He was born in Charles County, which is where I am, but in the colony of Maryland, because the United States was not a thing yet at that time. And he died in 1813. But what makes him famous is that he was the first United States Secretary of the Navy. Once the United States was formed and there was a need for a Navy, let's see, it says that President John Adams in 1798 appointed Stoddard a loyal Federalist to oversee the newly established Department of the Navy. So, but as soon as the first Secretary of the Navy, Stoddard soon found himself dealing with an undeclared naval war with France, which would come to be known as the Quasi-War. I think once that happened, from what I read in this Wikipedia article, he didn't stick around Charles County too often, or too long. I couldn't even find out actually if he was still living in the county when all this happened. He might have been closer to, I know he married a girl from nearby Prince George's County, so he was probably, you know, living in that area by then anyway, but nothing crazy exciting this time. I do have something else planned for next time that will be, you know, a little more, I've just got to dig up a little more information on it because it's a folklore, and, you know, those are a little harder to come by Wikipedia articles about. So I even went to the good old library thinking I was going to dig up some gems, and so far I really didn't turn up a whole lot more than what I could find through a quick Google search. So, okay, I think I've probably covered everything. If there's anything else that you know, that I missed, or if I talked in circles around myself, which I am known to do, you know, reach out to me on Instagram or Ravelry. Words, oh my gosh. It's bus stop time of day. There's buses and cars going hither and yon, and, you know, it's distracting me. But I had to wait until my people were out of the house to get this thing going. So anyway, but, you know, reach out to me or leave a comment here on YouTube. That's fine too. And I will plan to be back on the 4th of February, which is a Tuesday, which is a day I work. Yeah, might be the 5th of February. Yeah, probably so. Let's just say that, because I know already that I'm working that day. Yeah. So hopefully I'll have some more finished objects to show you next time. And who knows, hopefully we'll have the sweater going by that time also. Jump into another sweater project. If this one doesn't turn out well, like, I'm going to quit knitting altogether. I'll just be a spinner only, and that'll be that. But I'm sure it'll be fine. She and I are round about the same size, so it shouldn't be a problem to, you know, take my measurements and apply them to her, and, you know, it'll be fine. So anyway, I think with that, I will end here, and I will thank you for joining me today and for interacting and, you know, just spending some time with me. And I will talk to you